Hey everyone, AstroNerdBoy here. And as you probably already know, I haven't put out a new Marvel Strike Force video on my channel for quite some time. And the reason for that is I quit the game a few months ago. And it wasn't a rage quit like I did with Fate Grand Order. However, my dissatisfaction with the direction of the game combined with some other factors made me decide to quit the game. But when I originally started playing was at global launch, and I quit the first time when Red Stars were introduced because I didn't like the concept, and I was a little bit worried about war. I'd played a game called Star Wars Force Collection where war was not. I mean, you had to be up in the middle of the night, and I just wasn't going to go there. And at the time, I was playing Fate Grand Order and Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, so I was like, fine. I need an excuse to quit anyway because I just don't have the time to devote to 3 games. Fast forward to April 2020, Mobile Gamer indirectly talked me into returning to the game. And so I did, and I made a video about it. And the first thing I did was to get into a good alliance that didn't mind my low TCP. But at the same time, this alliance had to be active, pushing forward in the game, but casual, understanding that real life happens. Because I work in a business where I sometimes have to work 70-hour weeks, and sometimes all during the day and all during the night. And thus, any kind of a game has to be put on the shelf. So fortunately, I found that. And the next thing I did was, once I got into my alliance, was I formulated a plan to raise characters for Dark Dimension 3, which had just been released, or just shortly before I rejoined the game, had been released. And so I was looking for characters that I could use in DD3 as well as DD1 and DD2. At the same time, I was also looking for working on a path to unlock legendary characters, many of which would be required in DD3, of course. Outside of the character distraction, such as the challenges to get better gear, or the monthly events, like say with the hand team. And if I was really close to getting the entire team, let's say to 6 stars or to 7 stars, I might stop whatever I was working on just to get that team or that set of characters going to complete whatever next challenge or whatever next event that would help me out in the long term. So, but other than that, like I said, I just stuck to my plan. I had a path. I think I started with Star-Lord on the legendary side. And I came up with teams that I could use to get me through. And I hoarded resources like gold, and I hoarded red stars. I did not just go out there and just arbitrarily start blowing everything away just because I had it. And during my journey, I managed to score Black Order when they were still part of the meta in the arena, and that was really cool. So for 3 months, the arena became something fun for me, which had never happened. And when the meta shifted to the Infinity Squad, I scored Adam Warlock on his second event, which was something I had never done before on a legendary character. The closest I'd come maybe was like the 4th iteration. So getting Adam Warlock on the second was just amazing, and it was a huge accomplishment for me. And then I pushed forward with my meta team, and I was able to actually break into the top 100 in Arena. And that was something I never dreamed would be possible when I first came back. I was so far back in the Arena rankings when I returned in April 2020. There was just no way. I thought maybe if I'm lucky, I'll be able to break into the top 500, and that's as far as I'll be able to get up. But instead, I was able to get all the way into below 100, and it was just an amazing thing. However, in doing so, I became aware of one of the ugly elements in the game, which frustrated me to no end. So, the meta was shifting again out of Infinity Watch. I had defeated Dark Dimension 4. I had done it before many people who had never even left the game at all. And I decided, it's time to quit. It's time to quit. I don't have time for this and all this other stuff. So, but here's some reasons why I ended up quitting Marvel Strike Force. And the first one is arena slingshotting. And in many ways, this was the straw that broke the camel's back for me. I always knew that, within the top 100 players, there would be some level of gatekeeping that would increase as I moved higher up in the ranks. And, the top 100 club doesn't want new players in the club. Get your scummy butt out of here. We don't want you. And not only that, but, if you get really close to the top, there's collaboration on who gets the loot. So, that's all ugly. I don't like any of that. But I was expecting that. What I didn't expect was the Slingshot Effect. And I'd heard Mobile Gamer talking about it, and I didn't truly understand what he was meaning until I experienced it. And, like, for example, the first time I experienced it, I won my match, and I should have been ranked 97 when I finished my match. Instead, I was like 122 or something like that. I can't remember exactly what. And I was pissed. I'm like, wait, how do I win the fight and go backwards? That is just whacked. And I did not recognize it as slingshotting until I started looking around, and then I remembered Mobile Gamer ranting about it, and I thought, oh, that's what he was talking about. Okay. And it was very frustrating. Now, to be fair, there was one time where, after getting beat back with defensive losses, and I started pushing my way forward in the arena, my last fight, I was like, 119 or so. And I thought, well, okay, at least I'm, in this certain range to get the certain loot, and hopefully I won't get knocked back. And instead, I ended up at 102 when I checked in the next day, because somehow I got slingshot forward. And so slingshotting can work in both directions, but for me, most of the time it worked in the negative direction. And it was frustrating. It was like, well, wait a minute. Why am I putting so much time and effort into a game mode where, I can get all these cores to help me do my whatever I need to do in the game and not have to pay for them, if I'm going to get blown back on a win? It's not right, it's not fair, and I hated it. So I was like, you know what, I'm done. I'm tired of this rubbish. That leads me to my next reason for quitting, and that was game bugs. And back in the day when I played Marvel's Avengers Alliance, which was a precursor Marvel game, hero collector game that was made by Playdom for Facebook. One of my chief complaints when I was playing that game were the nonstop bugs that came to the game. And the only bugs that got fixed right away were the ones that would impact Playdom's revenue, and the other bugs might get fixed later or not at all. And it got so bad at one point that the people were calling the Playdom Bugdom. And then Marvel Strike Force became just about as bad by the time I left, and even worse in some regards. Every day at server reset, new offers might be bugged. Orbs might disappear from one's inventory. Orbs might not contain a character they were supposed to. So forth and so on. A new character might be released, and a bug might be found within said character. And then maybe the character would get fixed. Maybe it would take them a while. Or maybe they would just bloody change the text so that the text matched what the character was actually doing on screen and not what was originally intended. And I'm going, wait a minute, this is like stupid. This is just, why am I supporting a game that would do that? And then further, just like Playdom had done, Scopely would quickly fix bugs that would negatively impact their revenue, but other bugs or exploits might stay on for months on end. And this kind of mentality for bugs fixes is very irritating to me. And, that led me to my next reason for quitting, which is monetization. over everything else. Now, don't get me wrong, all games need to make money. And I spent money in Marvel Strike Force because, I wanted to support the developers. But developers don't make a game simply so I can have fun for free. They need to get paid for their time and effort. And even in a free mobile game, devs need to get paid, which, like I said, I don't mind paying. And I don't mind them monetizing. And I don't mind them heavy monetizing. And doing stuff that says, hey, Kraken, spend, $200 and you can get this. I didn't mind that because I know the Krakens are the ones and the Uber whales are the ones that are playing for this game. If I'm just being a dolphin in my spending, I'm not really paying for the game, but I am showing my support. You know what I mean? But I didn't. So I don't mind the monetization. The pop-up ads are annoying. I'm not gonna lie there. They were very annoying. But otherwise, I don't mind the monetization. However, as time went on into the game, it seemed like things were costing more and more in terms of offers. There might have been an offer that when it was first introduced was like $25, and then a few weeks later it's 30, and then it was 40, and then maybe 50 because they just keep raising the price, and you're just like, wait, what? How is that right? And, just that we're raising the price just because we can mentality pissed me off, and I just like I don't want to support a game where you're doing crap like this. But what really ticked me off was the two battle pass systems, and this was because they just threw it in your face, this whole haves versus have-nots. And because you had the one line that was like, yeah, if you don't spend, you get this chump rewards. But if you just spend some money, you filthy tight-wadded weasel, you could have so much more rewards, losers. And I refused to spend any money in battle passes, but just because they were throwing it in my face. That pissed me off. When in something like, let's say Blitz, where I knew whales or krakens or whatever were spending great big wads of money to get ahead in the leaderboard or whatever, that didn't bother me because I couldn't see that. I just automatically knew that, yeah, I'm not going to get ahead. But in a battle pass system where they got the two tracks, that's in your face, and that just pissed me off. And so I was like, okay, fine. I'm not going to, I quit spending money because of that, as I wasn't going to give in to their little pressure tactics. Now, to be fair, I will say that the player base has trained Scopely to be this way. I've heard many player in the game say that if Scopely had reasonable offers, they'd probably do more sales and get more spenders, not have to rely on the whales and kraken so much. But yeah, I've seen people who say this not even spend $1 on an offer that would give them a ton of stuff in game because, I'm free to play, and they treat that like a religion. I'm not even going to spend $1. Well, if you're not even going to spend $1 and to get a whole bunch of stuff, then you're telling Scopely that, okay, well, all we can do is cater to the whales and krakens because, no one else gives a crap. And I know that if you're poor, don't get me wrong, you don't want to spend even $1 on a game, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about people who, they could spend $1 on the game and show some appreciation to the developers and for a game that they like, and they won't even do it because nope, I will never spend a dime in this game. Period. All right, well, now you know why there are not good offers in this game a lot of times. And occasionally, but this is why Scopely is going to cater to the whales and krakens, because other people are not going to spend even $1, even if it gave them 10 million gold, a 7-star character, a 7 red star orb. Nope, not going to spend. So, anyway, but I digress. Sorry about that. So the next item that made me quit the game is a lack of interesting PvE content. Now, I'd previously discovered in a another video some of the PvE things I wanted to be added into Marvel Strike Force. But one of my pet peeves is that the PvE content is boring as all get out. We don't get to fight anything interesting or thematic, and I think that's a shame. To me, what is the last character event that was ever truly memorable in terms of combat or even story? Do you remember one? I don't. Because there's no theme, really. It's just, here are characters in your roster that you have to fight, just like what you see on the screen. Although this is Blitz. But you basically just fight whatever can be in your roster. In any PvE element. That's it. There is nothing else. But imagine, for example, if a character event was actually thematic in nature. Thematic in nature, sorry. So let's take Magic. And I know Magic was released in a game right after I quit. And even though I had said I would well out to get her, after I quit and then I heard she was coming back in the game, you know, her kit wasn't cool like it was in MAA. So I was like, I'm not doing it. I don't care. But let's say that Scopely had released her in the way that I wanted to, where you have to take X-Men characters into limbo to rescue her. You'd have to slog your way through demonic hordes, you know, led by demonic versions of the X-Men, you know, which would match the original comic lore of how Ilya had been kidnapped and, you know, became Magic. And then at the end, you'd have to fight Sim and Belasco. And neither one of those characters would be characters that you would be able to recruit, but they would be characters that you would have to fight. And then you could repurpose them for, like, you know, let's say a Halloween event or, you know, something else. But, you know, or and some other sort of content for PvE so that, you know, they're not just a one-time usage characters. But unfortunately, to do that would mean that Scopely couldn't sell us characters. And another thing I thought, you know, would be cool to have would be like some kind of global event or alliance event where, let's say, Master Mold is the villain. And he's creating sentinels left and right of various types with various kits. And let's just say mutant characters get to do extra damage against sentinels and stuff due to their fighting for their life. But sentinels also do extra damage due to their anti-mutant programming. And I thought something like that would be a lot of fun. But like I said, Scopely would never do this for us because they could not sell us the characters. It's much more cost effective just to create boring PvE content where you just fight clones of what you already have in your roster or what you could potentially have in your roster if you haven't unlocked all the characters. And it's even more cost effective to create more PvP content, you know, so that, hey, they don't even have to worry about creating anything. You just fight someone else's roster. I mean, that's as cheap as it gets. And I just don't like that. To me, it's not fun. To me, it's not fun. Just all you ever do is fight things in your own roster. And you can't fight other creatures or other types of things that are in the Marvel lore. And I just don't like it. So that was another reason. So the next item is Tyro gear. And being forced out of my alliance. And as I said at the top of the video, when I got back into the game, I found a good alliance. And they let me in. Well, over time, as the game changed and alliance stuff became more and more where you needed to be active and your whole alliance needed to be all on the same page and you couldn't have casualness, really. some of our people started leaving. And as people started leaving, I was being held back because of that. And that really sucked. So after, a lot of search, I don't want to say heart searching, but, after a lot of thought, I was like, I got to quit. I've got to quit my alliance and go somewhere else. And it sucked because I'd been with these guys for a long time and they were a great group. And yet Scopely was forcing me to do this to get teal gear and blue ISO. And, and I was the only one in my alliance that had even done DD4 at all. And I'd done it twice. And now a lot of them were getting ready to do it. But, no one was at my level. I was, way above my alliance at that point in time. And so, it just sucked having to go to some new alliance just so I could keep advancing in the game. And I thought that was just trash on Scopely's part, and it really annoyed me. So that was another reason why I quit. And finally, the game became a job. And I was just editing a video for my YouTube channel that I did in 2020 for Might and Magic 10. And I talked about playing how I don't like games that become chores. Where it demands I'm constantly playing, I'm constantly doing this, I'm constantly doing that. If that's how the game is, then I start going, okay, it's time for me to move on. And that's what Marvel Strike Force had become. And I let it go on way too long, I'm going to tell you. And that's because, like I had mentioned earlier, I had goals. And those goals when I came into the game initially were just to get through Dark Dimension 3. But when Dark Dimension 4 came out, it shifted. And I extended my goals so that, now it's like getting through Dark Dimension 4 twice. And so to do this, I was having to do lots of blitzing. I was having to do lots of war battles. I was having to do lots of arena battles. I was having to do a lot of grind, farm, blah, blah, blah. And as I mentioned also earlier, my job takes up 60 plus hours a week on average. So my free time is limited. And if I'm spending 4 hours in Marvel Strike Force, when do I have time to do anything else? I mean, I love playing PC games. I've got a whole library full of PC games I've never played. I've only, recently got into Borderlands 3, which is my first looter shooter. And I'm having a blast playing it. Way more fun than I ever had playing Marvel Strike Force, I can tell you that. And I love hero collector games like Marvel Strike Force. But, if a game becomes a chore, and this game had become a chore and a job, that if I took some time off, I was hurt bad. You get hurt in arena, you're hurting your alliance, you're doing all kinds of negative things if you take any time off away from this game. And games should not do that. Games should be fun. They should not be chores. I should not have to spend 4 hours in the game, trying to meet my goals and meet whatever I need to do to get done. And so I was like, you know what? Just like before, I need to quit. I just need to quit, and then I can play my PC games, I can watch anime, I can read manga, I can review the stuff, and I can start enjoying life once again, which I just felt I was just not enjoying Marvel Strike Force anymore, and I definitely wasn't liking the direction that it was going. So, and then with the slingshotting that was happening, that was going on, I was just like, I gotta quit. I just gotta quit. What logic is there grinding out something day after day in a game filled with bugs? Why should I sacrifice my free time on a game where the company only cares about revenue and nothing more? Why was I spending so much time in trying to fight in the arena, win the fight, and lose ground in the rankings? Where's the logic? There is no logic. So, it was, very frustrating. And it wasn't an easy decision, I'm not going to lie. I actually had wanted to quit probably a few weeks before, but you know, there was also my YouTube channel. You know, I had quite a lot of subs, and when people found out that I was like not putting out Marvel Strike Force content anymore, you know, they all started leaving in droves. Ditto on my Twitch streams. You know, I had a lot of people who'd come by to watch me play Marvel Strike Force, and once I quit, you know, that was it. You know, I wasn't, you know, mobile gamer's not going to raid me anymore because I'm not playing Marvel Strike Force anymore. So, you know, and that's fine. That's fine. You know, there's no game worth me just, you know, my sanity, and pushing me toward a rage quit. I decided that, you know, I've done everything I want to do in this game. Now's the perfect time to quit. And I'll be honest, I watch mobile gamers still play some. You know, I look in on some of the other content creators that I used to watch from time to time, but you know, this time there will not be a third time return for me in Marvel Strike Force. I'm just, you know, I just don't want to get back into that rat race. So that's why I quit. That's why there's no Marvel Strike Force content anymore. And you know, if you're one of those people who hadn't already unsubscribed because you didn't realize, you know, that's fine. I understand if you want to unsubscribe, but you know, hopefully not. Hopefully, folks, you know, will hang out and like, hey, well, what other kind of crappy stuff are you doing game wise? So, but anyway, so that's it. Thanks for watching, and thanks for all the support over the time when I was playing. I really do appreciate it, and hopefully, for those of you who like, you know, you'll stick with me and we'll go on with other games. Until then, have a good one.